So today we're going to talk about the best airline stock on the stock market. Now, in my opinion, this is the best airline stock out there, but normally I would say I absolutely hate airline stocks. I am not a fan of them, and I would normally say avoid them. But for this one, I actually think this is a pretty decent company, and it's a little bit of a hidden gem, and it is a UK stock. So today I'll go through the reasons why I actually think this is a pretty impressive company to take a look at, and they're actually coming off a very strong trading update. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get started. Now, just a quick shout out on the Patreon. I have just dropped an exclusive video on there, which is the stock request, where members of the Patreon or Discord get to, because you get the Discord free with the Patreon, get to vote on me to take a look at a stock. This week's winner was Greenco UK Wind, and we take a look at this stock, and it's pretty impressive. There's a few things that I'd like to see from the company, but if you want a quick look into that one, then join the Patreon. The link's in the description. £5 a month. You get to also know what I'm buying and selling in real time on there, and there's a Discord with 500 members on to either vote for the stock request or talk to everyone about stocks, including me on there. £5 a month, guys. As well as that, if you want some free shares, join Trading 212 with the link in the description. That's personally for me, the broker that I use. Anyway, whenever I talk about airlines, my straight thought always comes to Warren Buffett. I always think about Warren Buffett it's crazy now thinking about the whole COVID situation, which is now coming up 4 years ago. But I remember when the COVID situation happened and Warren Buffett was quite heavy into airlines, and basically the situation happened and he basically just dumped all his shares off straight away as soon as the situation happened. You can see here from the 3rd of May 2020, he basically just sold off all his airline stocks, basically. And I think one of the investments was like Delta Airlines, and he basically sold it at the 52-week lows, the all-time lows, not all-time lows, the 52-week lows of that year. And took a big loss, $1 million loss on these stocks. And within 1 year, all the stocks rallied up 100%. And it just shows you, like, even the best investors always make mistakes. I remember during that time frame, like, everybody was saying, "Oh, what a silly decision! Like, he's finished. Warren Buffett's finished." And then I think from like 2020, Berkshire Hathaway has just gone on to another level, and everyone goes, "Actually, that Warren Buffett guy is still okay at the moment." But it just makes you laugh. Like, whatever's the tone of the market is that everybody says, "Oh, what a terrible investor," and then within like a year's time, "Oh, what a best investor." Let's just say, like, all the best investors make mistakes. That's what I always think. I always look at that and think, even the best investors like Warren Buffett make mistakes. And whenever we talk about airline stocks, that's what I always think about airlines. But I normally avoid them. I normally avoid airline stocks. You don't hear me talk about airline stocks because I don't like them. They are very competitive. They're historically horrible balance sheet companies, struggle for profitability. There's no moat. Whenever you go fly normally, you're like, oh, whichever one's the cheapest, that's the one I'm going to go with. There's not really any kind of switching cost. You're not really loyal to any kind of company here. The price competition between businesses is also awful, and I normally avoid them for them sort of reasons. However, one stock has broken that rule. It's broken that rule for the last kind of 4 years, because I've owned this stock for around about 4 years now, which is Jet2. And Jet2 is a stock that I've owned for about 4 years now. And if you actually go back on YouTube, you can see here about 4 years ago now. I don't know if I want to make this video play, because I'm going to see what the old videos used to look like. Look at that. Wow. We've come on a bit in that time frame. Still not amazing, but we're still a little bit better. I gotta say, there's a lot less wrinkles on me there 4 years ago. Anyway, it used to be called Dark Group then as well. But anyway, getting back to the point, Jet2. Jet2 is a stock that I used to own 4 years ago, bought during the whole CV situation where Warren Buffett was selling the stocks. I was buying airlines, and the stock went actually on to return over 100%, and I remember selling 100%, selling some shares out at 100% profit. Not that the trolls will ever mention that in the comment section. I never see Jet2 mentioned in the comment section at all. Cough, cough. So yeah, it's been a really good winner for the portfolio and for me personally. However, for the last kind of 3 years really, the stock has basically stayed stagnant. It's up a little bit, but it's not really improved that much. And during that time frame, the financials have actually got even better, yet the share price has not shown that. And I actually think now that this stock is actually quite looking attractive again at these sort of levels. And I actually have actively started buying Jet2 for the first time for a long time. You can see here from the Patreon or the Discord, I actually posted on the 8th of May that I actually bought Jet2 for the first time in nearly probably over 2 years at 7 times earnings. And the thing is with Jet2, I mean, it historically is a little bit lower than what it is normally. It's I think it's actually 7 times earnings, but 8 times earnings. Normally it does trade around 10 times earnings, but even for this sort of company, I do think it should maybe a little bit higher on a valuation point of view. And the thing is, when you look at a lot of these other airlines, like let's go back to Delta, for example. I mean, Delta's like 6 times earnings, but the difference between like Jet2 and Delta, you look at Delta's numbers recently, the net income was down 29%. The operating revenue was down, up 7%. Like, yeah, the revenue is okay, but the net income's absolutely getting crushed. And then you go on to Jet2's numbers, which they just brought an update out last week, which actually caused a bit of a rally in the share price last week. The stock was up 7%, nearly 8% in the last kind of 5 days after the trading update that just posted. And, you look at the numbers that Jet2 have just posted, and the revenue was up 24%. The operating profit was up 9%. Profit before tax was up 33%. Profit before taxation, 43%. Profit after, 37%. EPS was up 37%. They hiked the dividend up by 34%. Like, these companies aren't at the same sort of levels. Like, Jet2 is so far outperforming all the other airline stocks with these numbers. And it's outperforming something like a Delta, but yet they're kind of near the same valuation, which doesn't make sense, which kind of makes me, really bullish on something like a Jet2 and why I've actually been starting to buy some shares in Jet2 again. And I guess kind of like, why is Jet2 able to do this? Why is Jet2 posting all these fabulous numbers when historically airlines have been so struggling and so competitive? Why is Jet2 ahead of the pack, really? And if I go back to this article here, it says here, Jet2, where did it all go right? Why is Jet2 the kind of budget UK airline that's disrupting all this space, that's actually doing really well? And the thing with Jet2 is it just goes down to the actual service. Jet2 is the first budget airline that people actually choose to travel over. It's the kind of the first one that actually has a little bit of a moat where people actually go, I actually want to fly with Jet2. If you have the same route or destination and you can fly with Ryanair or EasyJet, or you can do Jet2 and the prices are the same, or maybe it's a little bit more with Jet2, people are actively choosing Jet2 over the other budget airlines. And that's why they've also got the Which Awards Brand of the Year. People are choosing to do this, and this is the big disruption in the airline space that's going on at the moment. Jet2 is actually getting a moat around the kind of other airlines. And it's the same when you go on Trustpilot. Especially something you would expect with Jet2, you'd expect so many negative reviews with a company like this. But yet you look at Trustpilot and they've got 4.5 stars. You go on something like a Delta Airlines that we've mentioned quite a bit on this video as a comparison between a valuation and a financial point of view. You look at their reviews, 1.7 stars, that's very poor. It shows you the big difference that's going on here. And as the company is getting more demand, more people want to fly with Jet2, they're opening up more locations. They just opened up the new location at the new Liverpool airport base, which is doing very well. And now they're also going to open up at the new Bournemouth airport, or open up at Bournemouth airport, which will commence in February 2025. And once again, more market share taken. And then the other thing that you look at Jet2 is the balance sheet. Normally you'd, I said at the start of the video, one thing that I always avoid with airlines is because the balance sheets are normally pretty poor. You go on something like a Jet2 and they sit on 53% debt to equity. Once again, I use Delta as the kind of point, and Delta is 144% debt to equity. It's just totally different leagues. And you look at the cash and equivalents, the cash and equivalents is way below what the debt levels are. You look at Jet2, Jet2, when you look at their cash levels, they sit on 3.1 billion. It's nearly the market cap of the whole business. And you start looking at the potential of the dividend to be hiked up. We've already just seen the dividend hiked up 34%. If we actually look at potentially the earnings payout ratio that they're currently on for the dividend. I mean, the dividend has been hiked up, but the earnings payout rate is still 8%. So the room that Jet2 are going to have to potentially hike up that dividend is absolutely massive, which is also another bonus right now for Jet2. Now, there's only one negative I do see around Jet2, and that is that the chairman and the founder, Philip Meeson, I think it is. Yeah, Philip Meeson. He has actually just stepped away from the business, which is kind of like, you know, when you see a founder and the chairman move away, like, oh, is the business still going to be successful? Is it still going to have that high reputation of delivering a great service? I don't know. That's something to just kind of consider. That's the only thing that I see negative around this business right now. Granted, when you do look at, you know, Philip Meeson, you know, he does own 17% of the business. He has recently just sold some shares off, and it does make sense for him to step away from the business because I think he is 73. Oh no, he's actually 76. So it does make sense for him to step away from the business now at 76 years old. But potentially, could he potentially, when he owns that many shares, could he potentially step away and release some shares? Maybe. That's the only negative that I have with the business, is that there's a bit of a management change going on. He owns a big chunk of the business. He has already sold some shares. Does he potentially sell some more shares? We'll see. And that's something to kind of consider. I've got to say, the person that has come in charge of Jet2 now, I can't remember his name, the new person that is in charge, but he has been at Jet2 for many years. So it's not like it's a big switch around inside the business, but that's something that I just kind of make you aware of what's going on there. So that's the only negative I have with the business. Apart from that, you're looking at a airline here that is massively different to everything else that has been historically in this industry. You've got a company that is a historically cheap valuation, but trading at the valuation that all other airlines trade at, even though it's miles ahead. Profitability is miles ahead, the revenue is miles ahead. You've got a dividend that's increasing rapidly as well. You've got a balance sheet that's a lot better than a lot of other balance sheets out there. The reputation here is that you've got a company here that's getting the Which Awards for the travel brand of the year. You look at the Trustpilot reviews, and for something like a holiday company that normally get horrible reviews, people are choosing to fly with them over the likes of other budget airlines like Ryanair, like the likes of EasyJet, for example. And you look at the company now when you look at the share price point of view, it's basically stayed at the same sort of the same sort of share price it has done, for the last kind of 3-4 years now. But you look at all the financials. If I was just to go back on Simple Wall Street and you look at the financial performance, all the financials are moving back in the right direction. You look at what they were previously doing before the whole CV situation, and the company was, 3.5 billion in revenue, 111 million in profitability. The company is now doing 400 million in profitability. The revenue is now 6.2 billion. It's on a different league to where it was even before the whole CV situation. And then you're looking at the share price, and the share price is basically down 24% since that time frame. Granted, there's some shares potential increases, but I just think that this stock is just a little bit too low for the progress and how good it is compared to the other airlines out there. And like I said, I did buy for the first time in May, for the first time for nearly 2 years. And I got to say, I looked at the results the other day and I nearly went, you know what? Maybe I need to buy some more shares. Maybe I need to keep averaging up on this position. I don't know, but I thought I'd just make you aware of that one because I think it is a little hidden UK gem out there anyway. Hope you enjoyed the video on Jet2, guys. If you could hit that like button if you found this video useful, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.